What's up, YouTube? Just wanted to make a short video about the progress on fixing up some old thrift store speakers I got. They're Sony SS-D201, I believe. As you can see, I'm halfway through the process of swapping out the 6.5-inch woofers for something new. I've got these GRS 8-ohm replacement speakers from Parts Express. They're pretty inexpensive, about $10.50 a piece. One of the cheapest 6.5-inch speakers on there, and as you can see, it's a massive improvement over the old Sony speakers that were in there originally. They weigh, I don't have a scale here, but it seems like they're twice as heavy, the GRS speakers, as the Sonys. And it's pretty much plug and play. The holes all line up for mounting the speaker. The only thing is the terminals on the GRS speakers are a little bit wider. The Sony uses these more traditional style quick disconnects where the negative terminal is much smaller. So other than changing the disconnect terminals inside the box, pretty straightforward swap. The only complaint I have about these GRS speakers so far is it's extremely difficult to see the designation for positive and negative. I actually couldn't find it at first and was just going to assume that the positive is on the left side, which it almost always is on every speaker I've seen. And that is how it is, but I don't even know if it'll show up on camera, but there's a tiny stamp on the underside of the terminals there. And just been listening to it with this old Kenwood amp I got off Craigslist. I've got somewhat taken apart right here, and I'm going to go ahead and swap out that other woofer and get back with you in a minute. Alright, here we are back with the woofer swapped out in both cabinets, and I just gave it a quick listening test, and I gotta say they sound really good. Just outstanding speakers for what I paid. They look really good and they sound very good too, and huge improvement over the old. And these are pretty inexpensive cabinets. When they were new, I bought them at a thrift store for $10 for the pair. I've just kept them around over the years. They've always sounded pretty good to me, even with the old busted up woofers. And they're just kind of a handy size. I've always used them as like a test speaker when I get different amplifiers, and at some point I may look into changing out the mid-range speaker on them, since it's made such a good improvement changing out the woofer, and looking at putting new capacitors in the crossovers too, because I'm sure these things, if I had to guess, they're probably late 80s, early 90s vintage. And another word on the port, this enclosure, I don't know the specs on it, but if I had to guess, I would say it's pretty undersized. I think this woofer recommends over a cubic foot for a vented alignment, and just judging by the outside dimensions of these boxes, they're not even a cubic foot of internal airspace. But enough talk. Crank up the amp and give it a quick listening test. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with the swap. It was 20 bucks well spent, and I would recommend these GRS speakers to anybody, and look forward to more videos.